hello there.
I worked in emergency medicine for over half a decade.
I like to get out of my head and start thinking with my hands.
Picking up a dead body, using it as cover during a firefight.
Oh. Works great in the movies, but in real life, busted.
I think it's time to go full scale.
Full scale. You know what happened the first time I used this purple primer, John?
You ate some?
No, blew up my parents' garage.
I can't wait to get out there and just... Ooh, I felt that one in my face.
In creeps our person. Click. Boom.
Back when I was designing products, I always dream of doing crazy stuff.
We're building a rocket sword.
And I think this counts.
Let the science begin.
Woo! MythBusters.
I'm tongue-tied, I'm choked up, I'm so excited. Guys, welcome to the show. Congratulations, of course, are in order for this on a season of MythBusters, bringing it back, carrying this very heavy and combustible torch. Thank you for doing that. I do want to start real quick, though. We were talking backstage. I know you had your hopes up that we'd have the Keanu Reeves stools, and we don't. But here's what I can say about these chairs. Harrison Ford was in one of these.
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, if I tell you, then one of you will have not been in the Harrison chair. We're going to keep it ambiguous, all right?
It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mine. It's totally mine. I just pretend it's yours, but my chair is the Harrison chair. I made them swap them out.
Well, we both sat in the chair George Lucas did, though, so we got that.
Okay, I think we're all doing pretty well for ourselves right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell everyone in this room who sat in your chair before you got here as well, so we could all be a part of this. We're going to make okay. Yeah, we got time. Again, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for making time to hang out with us, guys. I know you literally just got to New York, right? Like just got here.
Yeah, we flew in 1 a.m. we landed. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got you running around. They got you back to back. I know you're doing fun stuff for Comic-Con.
Yeah, we came from Myth. We're straight here, and then from here we'll go on to Comic-Con where we have a panel and a little show and some fun giveaways there. So.
Yeah. You guys were going to be, I think, ringing the NASDAQ bell today?
Yeah,
that's a fun one.
That was a surprising one. Yeah. Well, we're not quite sure why the MythBusters are ringing the NASDAQ bell, but we're not going to turn that down. That's a heck of an opportunity.
I guess you don't say no to that, right?
Yeah, and it got my parents here in town. I mean, Comic-Con, they're like, oh, that's really amazing. That's awesome. And then I was like, hey, Dad, NASDAQ. And he's like, I'm there. He beat me to New York from Texas.
Is that how they know? Is that like now they know you've made it?
Yeah, now that I'm ringing the NASDAQ bell, yeah.
It wasn't running the show. It wasn't this the amazing legacy that you get to carry on. It wasn't the Comic-Con with thousands of fans. No, you're going to be the guy that does this at 5:30.
I know, right? I got to not downsell it. They are really proud parents. But still, that was what got them to this one.
Not that, and I also shouldn't downsell the importance of the NASDAQ bell.
That's true.
Just because I don't understand it doesn't mean that it's not a really important big deal.
We're stopping millions of dollars of trades in a ding. That's some power, right?
When you put it in perspective, you guys wield quite a wand there. That is something.
I briefly looked down and I was like, I think we're underdressed to ring it down.
I was going to say, do you have like a bell ringing suit? No?
You got lunch shoes. Do you have a bell suit?
Well, this is it.
Any special funds? Oh, well, you can't tell us if there's any surprises, I guess, in store for Comic-Con, huh? Then it wouldn't be a surprise, would it?
No, sir, it would not.
But you guys are hyped. Is this your first Comic-Con on this side of the fence? Like, I imagine maybe you've gone once or twice in the past. Maybe you haven't. I don't know. Have you ever done a Comic-Con before?
I have been to the New York one twice, and it was super dope. But like you said, the first time being on the other side, I'm sure it's going to be crazy different.
Yeah, I've done one up in Dallas-Fort Worth area, just one tiny one where I was there with my friend helping sell stuff, and that's the closest I've come. Yeah, so I'm amped to have the time to look around the Comic-Con, let alone to be part of it is just insane.
That's very cool. Are you guys excited? Have you already seen some cosplayers dressed as you guys showing up yet? Is that might be a little early in the game? I don't know, but. Yeah. Keep an eye out for that, right?
Yeah, that might be post our first season of MythBusters. You know, then people get in. Although I thought for a second that little what was it, the New York puppy?
New York Yankee.
Yeah. I thought maybe going for Bo or something.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed not to see Bo here with you, but I understand it's hard to travel.
Well, she is legitimately my shop dog and my dog, and so she loves the crew. She's adopted everyone at the shop as family, and coming in is the best thing. But coming somewhere like this, it's just overwhelming for her. So she stays with friends and family.
Well, someone's got to hold down the fort while we're gone. So
right.
She's like telling all the guys, clean this, do that, put that poster up. She's in charge now. So
just running the show, just holding it down. All right, well, I want to go back a little bit because you guys were part of that. This all starts in that remarkable moment, Liberty Science Center. It's live. The announcement is made. I wonder if you could just walk me through, what's going through your head in that moment as you guys are finding out, oh, my God, this is happening.
It's kind of a tough moment to even describe because the idea that, when we started the search, we're told between 0 and 10 people will win this. We're just no chance of any it's going to be 2, it's going to be a team. No. So the night before they were kind enough to be like, all right guys, we don't want you to be hammered on stage, so it's 2 of you. So for about 12 hours we're dealing with the fact that we know 2 people who we went through so much with, one way or another 2 of us aren't making it. And of course we want all 4 or all even, Alan to be there, all 5 would have been amazing if we could have that opportunity. And when they're sitting up there, it's I was lucky enough to be the first, and the way he brought it up was talking about my dog, Bo, and I'm just so absent-minded and not thinking that, it hit me after it hit other people on stage that I was the guy with the dog. And then when I walk over, you just see my face, and it's joy, but I look over at John, Tamara, and Martin there, and I realize only one of them's coming with me now, and man, it's actually, the joy is also just pure sadness and panic because of that.
It's bittersweet, the whole thing, yeah.
It's a bittersweet moment. Were you, in that moment trying to figure out who else had a dog?
Yeah, I was just oh, who brought a dog on this show? Yeah,
I didn't see another dog here. That's crazy that other people had dogs. Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And what was going through your head? So, all right, so now 1 spot left. There's a couple of you there.
Yeah.
You're processing all the same stuff. What are you thinking in that moment?
I think the entire time I was doing the search, there was never a moment where oh, sure win, I'm going to make it, yeah, it's going to be great. So the entire time, well, I could go home at any point. But, the further you make it, the harder it is for you to let go of, the potential of that dream to come true. Yeah. So I'm on stage, and I think I can hear my heart, and I can't hear what they're saying at all. And I'm just staring. And then everyone looks at me, and I'm like, where's everyone looking at? What's everyone looking at? And then they're and I was oh, okay, oh, here we go. And that's basically all I remember. And it was kind of if you open a bottle of sparkling water and all the bubbles rush to the top.
Yeah.
I just feel oh, and I almost passed out. And that was about it.
Wow.
That's all I remember.
I think there's a great photo of that moment, and it's just John's got the goofiest smile. I just look dumbfounded. And some great fan on Twitter decided that was the moment, the photo, that she would turn into this incredible work of art, this drawing. Really? But it's still just the goofiest smile and the dumbest look on our faces, and so it's just wonderful.
Oh, you got to get that framed and put up in the shop. That's what you got to do.
She's still working on it. Last I saw, I don't know if it's
It's still coming along.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. She gives updates, that interaction just neat. So
that's pretty amazing. So that whole experience, you mentioned that, you get to the end and you've bonded with everybody, and I saw you guys were having lunch with Alan and Tamara the other day, or not too long ago, right?
Yeah. So Alan and Tamara are both LA based, which is awesome since we're there now in Santa Clarita at our new shop. Yeah. We get to hang out, say hi. Alan's got a lot going on, Tamara's got a lot going on, especially with Science Channel, which we're with. So that's real cool, and it's just neat because they're 2 genius people and to still have the chance to interact.
Well, that was the fun thing in watching that show. It's kind of like a mad scientist boot camp. Just you guys all get together. So I imagine that bond formed. You just couldn't help it. They're good people. You were doing all this fun stuff, and so you keep touch with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got there that first night, and it was I don't know, I probably rolled in around 9 o'clock or something. I drove from Texas to San Francisco for that, and 9 of the 10 of us were already there, and we stayed up. I mean, we knew we're about to go on and be on TV and do something we've never done and have no idea, but we all stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning just because there's never been more people like-minded and of the same sort sitting in one area, and it was incredible. From day one, friends, but by the end, like you said, been through boot camp together.
It's pretty awesome. All right, so talk to me now. You start doing the show. It's been some time has passed. You guys, you're the dynamic duo now. This is happening. You've spent some time together. Adam and Jamie are notorious for having massive amounts of respect for each other, but very openly driving each other batty. Have you guys started to learn anything about each other yet that you're oh, that didn't pop up before we were on the show? Or it looks like you're doing pretty good. It looks like you're handling it well, and you got a good bromance thing going here.
Yeah, I would say we had the benefit of having the search happen, and so it's hard to fake it for 10 weeks or however long we were there for. And so by the end of that, we were all pretty close. Everyone, we still talked to Martin, Alan, everyone was on the search. We're still hey, what are you doing this weekend? Blah blah blah. And so by the time we got to doing the first season of MythBusters, I think we were pretty comfortable. There's not much that we're discovering now. All of a sudden, 6 months in, what you hate? What you hate? You hate corn? You're gluten free. You can't eat bread.
That's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
That is a deal breaker.
So it's like we're like everyone's real close.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a real friendship going on, and it's just sort of like we take the time to decompress outside of work, but we drive to every location at work all day, and we are best friends there. And then when work's over, we go our own way for those hours, and then right back to just two grown adult man children having a great time at work.
It's usually for sleep.
the best job in the world.
We pass out, and we wake up and we reconvene at work. That's usually how it works.
It's pretty amazing.
Or play.
The show, so it premieres in November, right? How much have you guys filmed so far? How much do you got under the belt? You got a lot of content banked so far?
At this point, I'd say we're just past 2/3 of the way through, but we're just chugging away consistently.
So it's going to be really cool as it's planned right now. On November 15th on the Science Channel when we air, we'll wrap up filming our very last myth for that whole season just a week or two after that.
Very cool.
So it's sort of a cool little premiere and ending all at the same time.
All at the same time, yeah. It's going to be a very emotional roller coaster ride for you guys.
Yeah, then we'll be waiting to see if we get the next season.
See if we get season 2. So let me ask you, talk to me about first day official on the set. You walk in, you're wide-eyed. You walked into your shop for the first time. What is that like? What are the emotions going through you at that moment? Has the reality, even at this point, 2/3 through, has the reality settled in that you're the MythBusters?
I can't say it's settled in at all. Yeah, I mean, like even walking in here, someone outside was like, "Hey, Brian, could you bring John over here?" And I'm like, "Who are you? What? Okay, yeah, I'm happy to." But I think day one on the MythBusters in our shop. Yeah. So we have the same director, Steve, who was on The Search, and he was a big influence and a big help, especially.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
Basically, shout out to all the OG crew we have. Yeah. I mean, that's helped keep MythBusters the way it is and help make us into that role. But we get there day one, and I'm pretty sure Steve's like, "All right, boys, we don't have time to mess around. We're gonna be shooting you with some paintball guns right away."
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So start running, like literally start running. So.
And you're like, "Oh, what myth is this for?" He's like, "It's not for a myth."
Yeah.
That was the running joke the entire day. All right, we'll do this and then we'll start filming for reals. What? No, but I think we showed up on set and there was like we had a small break between the end of The Search and the start of this season of MythBusters. And it was just like a big family reunion. Because at that point, it's like, Heapy's coming back, second camera team's coming back, Steve's coming back. So before we got shot at, it was just doling out hugs. And then they started shooting at us, and that was like the first day of work.
That's pretty amazing. So I guess that kind of dovetails nicely into another thing I was curious about, which is how are you finding the balance between maintaining and upholding the legacy, but also finding a way to make it your own and put your own sort of voice and spin into it?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
How's that going? What's that process been like?
We're lifelong fans, and that's an important thing to this. From day one, we're a product of the previous generation of MythBusters. And so when we come and take over this, the process of testing and all that sort of a set way, but our approach to how we look at the testing and how we look at the designs to the builds, just sort of innately ours from our life experiences. So because we're so entwined with this legacy of MythBusters and it feels so important and that's what we want to hold up, we're really just bringing ourselves into that. And you don't have to think about how do I do MythBusters. You just have to say, how are we going to do this?
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it's just,
14 years long, right? The first original run was 14 years long, and I've been watching it since high school when it first aired. First time Adam Savage burns off his eyebrow before his date, all the way to the last episode, the finale, where they drive that plow truck through all the stuff they've ever built, and then he gets a little teary-eyed and all that stuff. So we've been along for that journey the entire time. And so it's nice to be able to have this legacy in the hands of super fans like us. Yeah. So we kind of we know what it was all about, and we have a sense of what we thought made MythBusters so great, which is making engineering and science and design so accessible to kids, when we were this big or however tall I was in high school, whatever. And so that's what we're doing, except, he's got some crazy background and I do product design and engineering. And so we're bringing our new perspective into the same MythBusters that you loved before.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I think that's part of what's making it so fun is you guys have totally, time and time again, exhaustively proven your MythBusters street cred and that you are genuine fans and you've watched the show and you've grown up with the show just like everybody. What has been, because like you said, 14 years been on the air, what has been the most challenging part going into it? Because me, the layman, is how do you guys keep finding myths? Do you sit down in the writer's room and go, all right, guys, what's left? What's been challenging for you guys?
I think finding myths is not as hard as finding myths that lend itself to what we do. because we have to build up. There's this slight formula to what we do of like something to gain knowledge to drive us towards the final test as a smaller scale. And so the myth has to have enough story and enough build and enough science to make it feasible as actual entertainment and science. And that's kind of the hard thing, because you can go out there and be like, you know, what happens if you pop a balloon, or I mean, you just on high speed or something. But we vehemently fight to not do demonstrations ever. We have to learn from what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's also what makes MythBusters so fun is like you take a concept that sounds so far-fetched, but you've heard it, and you're like, oh, actually, you know what? I wonder if that is possible. And as we're learning on TV, as we're doing it, the audience is learning with us, and I think that was like one of the biggest draws for me for the original MythBusters. Like, they went in, they didn't have any like special knowledge. They just went in like, all right, let's just try to, you know, let's weld up some cans and see if we can crush this with you know, with steam pressure or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was fun. They were experts, but never in what they were messing around with,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the joy for me, is learning the new expertise to whatever, you know, learning how many days worth of farts it takes to blow up a tin. That's a fun one.
Society needs the answer to that question.
And they'll get it this season.
Perfect tease. We're going to throw it over to the audience in just 1 second, but I did want to ask, was there, so you've done 2/3 so far, aside from the farts and the tin thing, is there a particular experiment or thing that you guys have done so far that you're really excited for everyone to see? Like, you can't wait. And can you tell us a little bit about it without, like, spoiling anything?
Oh, I totally, I would feel so bad if I ruined that episode for you, but there is a concept in movies, you know, when, you know, good guy swings a sword into a zombie or a monster, cuts their head in half, they blink, and then their head falls apart.
Yeah.
Well, it happens so often in TV and movies, it's called delayed causality.
Huh.
The whole thing of, like, getting cut, waiting, and then having it fall apart.
And then it slides apart, yeah.
And so, like, hey, do you think we could do that?
No way!
Like, you think it's possible? And so, you know, you start off with, you know, I feel like it's obligatory swinging swords at fruit.
Yeah.
To try to see, you know, because you're measuring how fast you can swing, how hard you can swing, your accuracy.
go
Sharpest sword you can get.
Yeah.
Ninja.
Learning all that kind of stuff, and then you're like, well, you know, we can't, you know, I feel like we need to up it up. And so obviously the answer to upping it is to build a robot that swings a sword for you. And so you're like, you know, we're not chopping, we're swinging, so how do we build a rig that does the draw as well as the, you know, and so you build that, and you're like, well, how can we really ramp it up? And without spoiling the ending, it involves the words rocket sword. And I'm going to leave that and let that.
There's a moment, I think, in one of the teasers where you go, we built a rocket sword. And then it cuts, and you're like, wait, go back.
No, what do you mean?
What do you mean? I need to know. Is that mutual? Is that the one you're both very excited about, or do you have a different one?
No, I got to be on board with that one. It was,
How could you not?
well, and it's just obscene. At some point, our mechanical arm, before we even get to the rockets, actually breaks the sword. So yeah, it was lots of power, lots of fun.
So it's like when you see your kid grow up and then the tear rolls down. So we're sitting there looking at our rig and we're like, you done good, sword, swinging machine.
Is there just one guy that manages like your insurance that sits in a corner and weeps and sweats all day? That's just you're gonna build a rocket sword? Okay, rocket sword. Yeah, rocket sword. I'll figure that out. It's like,
we do have a guy who is, let's say, our liaison to insurance, but he also did Jackass. So I think we might actually be okay.
That guy's set. He can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So well, compared to that, they're like, oh, these guys have degrees and are doing this stuff? Nah, they're good.
Let's say you're using safety glass? Oh, all right, yeah. Call me tomorrow. You'll be fine. All right, well, guys, I could not be more excited. Wednesday, that November 15th, 9 p.m., the Science Channel. It's going to be amazing. We're all very excited. Let's turn it over to some audience Q&A. We've got some microphones in the room. First one's over here.
Hi. So you were talking about your favorite myth of this season. I was wondering what your favorite myth from the original season was and how you're going to use that to inspire this new season.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you got one right away, I always just pick a random new one every time someone asks that. And it's not because I don't have a favorite, but it's because there's 14 years of amazing show, and it's just so hard to be like this one. But as far as a general one, I'm a fan of my God, I do that every day, or I see that every day, and I've just never thought about testing or trying that. And you could go home and maybe do it on your kitchen counter, but they did it on MythBusters in a crazy, awesome way. Those are always my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, and the fun part is also the like you said, building off what you said, the range of material that they cover. It could be from like, hey, if we drop this toast repeatedly, will it fall butter side down? All the way to like, hey, you want to like try to hang on to a roof of a car while we drive it and swerve it? And so I personally am a huge fan of movie myths, because I mean, you're watching TV, like, oh, I want to do that. I want to see if it's possible. And so that's what they do. So one of the ones is they build this crazy arm that sits in the back of a car that holds Adam and Jamie in place while they're trying to like hang on to the roof or hang on to the hood, fingers in the window, like. And so like I just love those action movie ones, and we definitely have those too. We span the gambit from like, hey, go try it right now, and like, please do not go home and try this.
Do you guys do you find yourselves almost in that like sort of Simpsons did it mode where you'll have an idea and go like, all right, they already did that one? Or like do you have a research team that like goes on the internet to see like, oh, some guy already put a microwave inside a microwave to see what happens if you microwave a I just watched it, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that video. That's a real example. Somebody microwaved a microwave. But like, does that happen? Do you run into that?
I think there's a lot of like original crew and there's a lot of original knowledge, but surprisingly it's me and John just from 14 years of watching, because they were on and off, and that we'll say a lot of times like they've done that, or that's exactly the same as what they've done. We won't do that, or something like that. So there is some challenge there.
Cool. Next question. We have a few more right here.
Hi. I was wondering, when you were creating your ideas for the show, if there's any that you just seem like it's just too dangerous to try, or you just run into problems that you're like, we gotta squash it.
Yeah. So, well, there's one that we were actually going to be doing next week, but as we developed it and slowly built out this idea of, I guess, we're probably never going to hit this sort of an explosion-powered car, but not in the engine, but behind the car. So you're talking a lot of explosions, a lot of repeated timing, and you really got to find a location that's just perfect to pull off something like that safely. And as we rolled closer, just every little tick mark wasn't being done, and we had to say, you know what? We're going to find something else to do with that 30 pounds of leftover explosives.
Yeah. It's
That's
like
not a problem.
Maybe building a remote-controlled bomb full size is not exactly a great idea, because we know sometimes how reliable, like unreliable RC is, and so you kind of don't want this thing just rolling off into the distance by itself, filled with explosive.
You kind of want to have control over that.
Yeah, and so we were like, maybe we shouldn't put that one aside.
This does sort of feel like your white whale now, though. Like, as you go from season to season, you think we can figure it out this year? You think we can make the remote control bomb safely now?
I have no doubt, given the time, the budget, and the location, that we could get it done.
You'll get it
but
we're at JPL, and we're gonna like send this car into space.
We're gonna make some friends, so if people want to call us out there, like NASA or something, you got a test site.
Do you guys have the, on the old show, they would have, like, James Cameron when they did the Titanic special. Do you have, like, a list of dream guests that you hope to get? Like,
I figure it's like every
put it out in
action
the
movie
universe.
for you, man.
Dude, right? Imagine it's like, let's just do a John Wick movie.
Well, I'm
Keanu Reeves. Like,
Keanu.
why not?
my dream myth. I'm gonna need Mark Watney. Well, I want to test as a biologist. I need some fecal samples. I want to test growing those potato plants on Mars with Martian soil. So to do it right, I'm going to need a very particular person. Make sure everything's on par.
So Matt Damon can call us if he wants to participate.
Got it. Well, we've put it out in the universe. It's out there now.
Right, you can get my number, Matt. I'm on Twitter.
We're going to do, I believe, is it one more? Yeah, we've got time for one more question right here.
Hey, so I know you said you're not always experts on what you're testing out. So how often do you consult with an expert, or do you need to consult with people before you actually like test them out, some of the myths?
We work closely with a number of experts depending on what we're doing. So it's like if we're doing the explosion stuff, we have an engineer and scientist who we push data back and forth with, and then when we're doing like the pyro stuff, like the farts, for example. But it's like, it's always interesting because these are people who do movie and TV pyro, where usually it's a special effect designed to look like something, while ours are actual tests. So like when we're working on the fart thing, I'm literally sitting down with these two other people, and me and the two of them are running calculations to understand how a fart explodes. So they're experts, but they're experts who have never done anything like this. And we work as a team all together to make that a safe but also really interesting moment.
It's definitely fun when you sit together with a group of people and you're like, oh, these dudes are really smart. And then you're both contributing in a like constructive manner. You're like, hey, we did good, all right. Like I was like, oh yeah, I never thought that you could fill a tent that way with farts. I mean, that could work. And we're like, high five, we did it, yeah. So it's always just like a really nice collaboration with people who are really very, very good at what they do. And we kind of bring our grab bag of skills into it too, and it just forms like a really nice union.
When you have people that are that intelligent and that experienced and they're working on something and they're used to these very big, serious projects, do they get lost in it for a minute and somebody stops and goes, hey guys, we're doing fart math, and just like bring it back to reality of like, this is awesome, fun, and ridiculous?
I think some of them too, like they are the engineers and the pure scientists.
Yeah.
And they actually are just digging the fart math. I mean, they're just all in. And so that math comes through like me and John, and that gets translated to TV fart math. But I think we're sort of the middle where we enjoy both sides, from the math to the fact that we're blowing up farts.
But they also love the idea of like taking a break to do like, oh, we're working on a rocket now, we're trying to figure out this fuel tank thing that's in space, and they're like, you know what, doing fart calculations is a nice break from what we do normally, and they love it. And so it's like perfect.
That's their vacation, is how they just step away for a minute.
I think we make a lot of people's day by calling up and being like, "Hi, MythBusters here. Are you the expert on quarks on the planet? We have some questions."
We have some stuff for you. That's pretty amazing. Guys, regrettably, we're out of time. I got to let you go. You got 1,000,001 things to go do. But before we get out of here, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't remind everybody, November 15th, Wednesday, November 15th, Science Channel, brand new premiere of the new season, The MythBusters. Guys, make some noise, please, and join me in thanking them for being here. John, Brian, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.